here is today I'm going to talk about why I think everything in the world is related. Let's start with the session actually. Okay, everything in this world is related. That's what I think. But for now, today, I changed my whole schedule for coming to Bangalore. I didn't read the news today, so I'm gonna read some news for now. Actually, news says for the first time in history of Indian space flights, two civilian ships will play a supporting role in India's forthcoming flight to Mars, designated as Mars Orbiter mission. The launch is slated for liftoff between October 21st and November. Blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, more news. But now I don't think news is more interesting. So let's play some intuitive video. Let's party. You guys like this video, right?
Open Gangnam Style.
Who wants to dance with me?
Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자
Huh? Yeah, it's part of my task actually. Don't worry. Okay, I'm gonna continue with my talk. Okay, what am I doing? I'm.
Open Gangnam Style.
Oh, yeah. Fine. What am I doing really? When I came here, I was like crazy. Like I came here, I changed my schedule, and so I was about to read news. Then I played the song. It was like some crazy thing, right? So what I'm actually doing? When I read the news, these was the patterns observed. These are like, what is going on? Is he some stupid fellow who is coming and just telling something else? This is gonna be you all people right now in the hall, and the lines which are connecting these are data. Like you guys are conversing. You are not looking at me. You are not like concentrating on me. That's what I signify with this. But when I played a song, it was a pattern observed. And there and the speaker, more concentration will be on not on me, but the song. Well, that's what I'm proves that when a data comes tries to reach you, and another data also comes and tries to reach you, but you get only the data which you are more interested in. In that way, every data is affecting other data. You can get. I'll tell you more examples. Well, let's say you're walking on some street and MG Road, whatever street, and let's say you're talking to one of your best friends, but you will find that like sometime later on, your focus shift will be going to something else. Let's say some hot, sexy girl is coming. Your focus shift will be gone to that instead of what you're talking to your friend. That means the data which your friend is trying to reach you is not reaching you. There is data influence of some other thing on the data which your friend is trying to reach you. I don't know you. Is that like some?
We got it.
You got it.
Yeah, we got it. Go ahead.
So there is video content, there is audio content, there is data everywhere, and everything in this world is related with the data. We are all the objects or entities of this world. Well, yeah, this is the statement I made. We are all objects or entities of this world, and we are all connected through data. And if we can channel this thing, we can find lot of beautiful patterns. Okay, what are the steps I followed to reach this conclusion? These are the steps I followed. First, I have a question. In this case, my question is like, why are things related in this world? Why do I think everything in this world is related? That is my question. Second, I observed the patterns. Like there is data coming and trying to reach me. That is the, when I played the song, that is one observation of you guys. When I read the news, that is another observation of you guys. And third, finding the patterns. I found the patterns, then I got the solution. Okay, these are the patterns. Second, observation is important. I'm going to tell you why. Surprisingly, same steps are being followed for solving data science problems. But in data science problem solving, instead of having a question, you'll have a query. In terms of data science terms, it's called a query. Observing, you will store the data. This is the difficult part because you have many data formats. Currently, there are like 286 data formats in the present scenario of databases. Let's say at 2020 some new data format comes. You need to change your database so that it has to accommodate the new data.
Like JPEG is also data format.
JPEG is a data format, MP3 is a data format, AVI is a data format, whatever. Okay, fine. Third one, finding patterns, is visualization. I thought I would bring some visualization, but I didn't brought it. Anyway, we have many beautiful visualization tools. If you can go through internet, go for open source D3. We have. Anyway,
Are you connected to the internet? You can show some D3 stuff.
actually, come.
Hey, go ahead. Can you extend your desktop and put the presentation up there?
Okay, first two parts in terms of data science are called designing a model. This is a difficult part in when it comes to a data science problem. When you designing a model is the thing which keeps the data scientist up in the night. Once you are done with that, this is the easier part, running the model, and updating also comes under running the model. Okay, big data helps in finding patterns, but what is big data? Morning we had a session, but I thought I would again tell that. What is big data? Why learn it? Actually, I prepared this for telling it to my juniors. I'm gonna tell about what is big data and why learn it. How to? I don't think I will tell it right now. Okay, what is big data? If I ask one of my friends, what is big data? This is the answer which you are going to get. It is something called big data. But I asked how big, then is like, okay, if it's some completely filled with, some board filled with complete data, it's gonna be some big data. But actually, big data is something like some 50 petabytes. One example of big data is 50 petabytes. Oh, how much is say 50 petabytes? Can anyone of you guess? Okay, fine. It's 665 years of HDTV videos. So if you keep on watching HDTV videos, it's not gonna enough. It takes 6 lifetimes. Now it's 12 lifetimes.
We don't have that much time to, for in our whole life at all.
Yeah, they use it for analyzing things. Yo man. Or 8 lakhs 20,300 iPods with memory of 64 GB. You keep on hearing the songs, it won't get over. Or 77 million albums with 700 MB of memory. It sums up to all the Pink Floyd works. Pink Floyd is now celebrating their 40th anniversary. If you collect all the albums, all the records which are sold to their customers, and collect it with a bundle and place it in one place, you will get 77 million albums. Or documents using 2.56 million trees. Using one tree, you can make a lot of paper. If you can finish, let's say you have a tree and you make a lot of paper out of that and fill that with lot of data. But you need 2.56 million trees of such to finish 50 petabytes. But yeah, it's not all. Big data is not about only the volume. It's about two other things. It's about velocity and variety. I told you about volume right now. I'll tell you about velocity and variety. The story of velocity. Let's say you guys have some web startup, and so you will have data to be managed. So this is your guy who will. This is the laptop guy taken from what I don't tell you, whatever. Let's say he is the one who is taking care of all the data that comes from your web-based startup. But he has a limitation. He can process only 100 documents per day. So when your startup works for let's say 1 year, you will you will need more people to manage your data. So yeah, bring more people. But this is not going to be enough because yours is some kick-ass startup. So you after 5 years you're gonna need more people. So you're gonna do that. You're gonna bring more people. Let's say after 10 years, what are you going to do? Like you have still more data getting in. So you need some other way to get this data processed. So this is one of the solutions they thought. In this, what they are doing was they are dividing the works among the people, so that if you are experienced in some part of data processing, you would only do that. You won't have to bother about learning all the skill sets. So it will be efficient. But this is not going to work if you're keeping, let's say, much of the load will be on the workers. So they checked it out. They changed the model again. Instead of keeping people, they kept servers. So you have limited people working on your data. These are people who are creative, and you select with lot of concentrating. You have some good HR department, let's say, to get these people in. These guys were the people who will solve your problems, all of your problems. They won't bother about processing. And these guys give the data to some mainframe computer. Then the computers, from the mainframe computer, it goes to all other servers. It's kind of like parallel processing, not kind of like, it is parallel processing. So yeah, trouble me if you have any doubts up to now. So yeah, I'll continue. What do you guys think will be the problems in the above architecture? Anyone? Fine. Okay, one is hardware problem. You're going to need a lot of hardware, one trouble, and you will have data loss problems. when you are trying to work on big data, you will, while transaction is going on, there is lot of chances that your data will be lost during a transaction. To take care of this, there is a tool called Hadoop. I am not going to talk about that, but I'll tell some of the points. Hadoop is one platform which we can run on cheap hardware. So you can buy a lot of cheap hardware and install Hadoop, then work on it. There is data loss problem, which also can be solved by using Hadoop. Hadoop maintains at least three replicas of data. Let's say one replica is gone, so Hadoop makes sure that it will generate one more replica to compensate that. It uses MapReduce. I'll explain about that. Let's say you have this problem. This is your data. Long words are one which are greater than 5, medium is equal to 5, and smaller are less than 5. So I colored it so that you could understand very easily. So since it's not much of big data, I took it again and again. I divided all these data into chunks, because if you are processing a big data with one machine, it will take a lot of time. So I divided all this into chunks, and each is pushed into a map function. Map function is already loaded in one of your servers. Then the reduce phase will take on. You can count this. The first one will have red words which are 40, blue 10 and yellow 2, and the same. All these processes will work parallelly. So let's say the first one takes 1 second to process, and so if you are running this whole process, it will take only 1 second. Why? Because you have parallel processing.
This is randomly chosen.
These randomly chosen.
It's not like now will be red or adverbs will be yellow, nothing like that. Nouns and subjects.
Random. But and yeah, coding is very simple. What I explained previously, let's say you want to process millions of documents, but still it takes just these small lines of code. That's Python actually. To show you graphically, this is what happening. So yeah, all the yellow words are going from each of map function into one reducer. Then red words are going to another reducer. Since we can have some like millions of keys, I am giving it to the same reducer. You guys are getting it?
Yeah.
MapReduce. Yeah, you missed. I missed variety. There are 286 data formats as I explained. If we can build some database which is flexible, it will be very helpful. My idea is like if we use artificial intelligence into database, we can have the database itself thinking about the data. It's like if the new data comes in, it will be like, okay, it will be intelligent about data which is coming in, and then take the data. Once we take the data, it's easier to process it. Actually, there is no fixed definition about big data. This is what IBM says. It is one of IBM's infographic. They say there are 4 terms: volume. There is one more added thing: veracity. They say that there is uncertainty of data. You can't have junk into your big data. But there is controversy about this. If you take veracity into account, you will have inverse action of your big data. It's gonna be less data. So I think you guys will have to check this thing. Why use? Before going to why use, I'll tell you something which are interesting, I think. Okay, this is 2012 American election. There is a statistician called Nate Silver. He predicted outcomes of 50 places of United States. What will be the outcome in that place? will Obama win or will Roni win? I guess Roni is his name. Romney. Yeah. So it comes out that this is very epic that he predicted all the outcomes correctly. It's not a magic that he has done. He used big data to predict that. He is using data journalism to do that. It's not any magic. This is one of Google's paper. It's for counting emotional words in 20th century books. So you will find that emotions are reduced. It's not so surprising. Emotions are falling in the books, and you'll find fear increasing, which is not so surprising. Why? Because there are a lot more terrorist activities going on. This is clinical optimizer. By using this, you can find good hospitals near your place. You don't need to travel a lot to find a good hospital. Okay, big data buzz. This is
What do you
one.
mean by the good hospitals?
Actually, you can go to the site itself. Clinical optimizer is like you have these inputs. Let's say what is the diagnosis you have received from your doctor. It asks about your previous diagnosis which you have taken from the doctor. Then it's like enter your address, where you stay, then how much miles can you travel. So it gives radius of what all hospitals are there in that radius. So you can get, and there will be quality, like which all hospitals are ranked well, and which hospitals are cheap. Actually, check it in online. You will get better.
Sounds something like a Zomato for hospitals.
I think I'll show it online if you like
No,
interested.
you continue, sir. We'll check it.
Okay, this is one of infographic by IBM. For those who think big data is not so much famous, this infographic will tell a lot. So yeah, that's a billion. Nearly billion pages are there when you search for a Google result in about big data. There are 120 plus Twitter accounts about big data, and you will find lot more research papers about that. There are like 2 million research papers published about big data. Every month there are 70,000 hits about big data, and yeah, in 2012 there are 9,000 job search results for big data, but in 2010 it's only it's zero. I mean they are trying to show comparatively the increase, I guess. And there are 50 plus infographics about big data. Infographics are the one which try to explain which is difficult or which is famous. So you can get that. 50 infographics is a lot more. So finally, I think I'll wrap this session. This is what I've promised to one of my friends. I will end with this. If there is a way, there is gonna be a better way. But I'll ask you a question, you guys. Like, there is a design example. There is a soap company which they are trying to manufacture soaps to their customers. But sad thing is some of their boxes go empty to their customers. They solved this by using some X-ray which costs around 3 billion. They bought 3 of these machines. But the same problem occurred in India again. What do you think will be a better solution for that?
I've already heard about they used a fan.
Weigh every packet.
Or put a fan. They used a fan. I've already heard about it.
Yeah, that is like, when I looked at it, it's like very funny. We need better designers for taking these big data problems. Big data is not confined to what we think right now. It has lot more possibilities. We just need to think. Every answers are there in the nature. We just need to find out. So yeah, thank you.
Have you
T3.
so you've used Hadoop, right?
I use Hadoop.
So have you also tried Sparks? That is something called Spark, right?
Spark. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a real time sort of.
So has
It's
anyone
built.
else tried Spark? I just wanted the comparison. They claim to be 100 times faster, but
Is it good as
Spark.
Okay, I heard about HPCC, but I never heard about Spark.
So see, Hadoop is essentially a batch processing framework. Like you have a lot of data, and you're doing some heavy processing on it. Spark, on the other hand, is for again those four words that you saw about big data. Spark handles real-time data. So essentially, it's these two are used in two very different use cases. You have a lot of, let's say, you have petabytes of data with you in a data storage framework. You use Hadoop to analyze that. You have, let's say, 10 GB per second of streaming data coming in. You build something on Spark, which is a real-time big data analytics framework to analyze that. So.
just real time. Okay.
Does it work like Hadoop only?
I thought it was
It does not
direct-
exactly work like Hadoop, but then it does use a distributed framework to analyze whatever your data is streaming in.
It seems they were claiming that Ocean 2, Hadoop Ocean 2, they accommodated that streaming problem and everything.
Yeah, haven't worked with that, so can't comment. This is a use case where we are streaming some Twitter data in real time and doing some sort of analysis on that. So this screen basically shows a sentiment analysis. If you look at these, there are certain features that we can extract, update this thing, this visualization in real time. I'll go on to some visualizations which are more dynamic in nature. So we do some sort of a topic modeling on a stack of data. So let's say we get in about 144 tweets in a stack. Run some topic modeling. So we get that there are 5 genres in which people are talking about in the space of big data, analytics, Hadoop, HDFS, HBase, etc. So a lot of people, if you see, are talking about analytics here, but then there's a group of people talking about Hadoop training analytics in India, in Chennai. Apparently it's begun, it's for a week. A lot of consulting people are coming into it. So stuff like this you can really visualize very well, and you can drill down. You can check what tweets are against each topic, etc. And so this all is built in D3. And there are other visualizations that can be built, stuff like this one is a force directed graph of the same visualization that you saw right now. So all those tweets that were forming the topics. So right now what we want to see over here is how those tweets are clustered. Again, we use a force directed graph in D3. If you see here, there are 5 very distinct clusters, and there are certain tweets which actually connect them. So you can drill down in all of them. You can really understand how your topics are forming, how people are tweeting, etc. So I would call this basically visual analytics. It's the analytics of tomorrow. Where an analyst does not really have to be very, very technically brilliant, but he can just have a visualization like this. You can click here, open up what understand what is happening, and then derive certain insights from it.
So what are the circles which have multiple colors?
Yeah, so these are tweets which basically fall into multiple topics. So if you look at this particular tweet, it's sort of connecting 3 topics together. This tweet falls under two topics, so it's sort of connecting 2 topics together. So see, everything, the entire point is that everything is connected via something. So right now in this use case, there are certain groups of tweets, but those tweets are also connected by something. So these are the tweets which actually sort of connect those 2 clusters. Again, there are other use cases that we can build. So we also have a use case where we stream live market data, stock market, NYSE. So let's see if it opens. Excellent. So if you look at this, this is what we call a market molecule. There are 32 tickers or 32 basic from the stock market. We get tickers that are updates on prices, etc. So if you see that, it just updates in real time. You can drill down, understand certain metrics about what's happening, what's not happening. So again, D3, you know, this entire thing is built in D3. So yeah. There are other visualizations that we can, the same thing can be projected as a salmon's graph. There are analysts who can understand the salmons better. So, yeah.
Is it based on the HTML5?
Yeah. So certain components of the page are. So that's about it.
Why are you doing the analysis here? For the client or for?
No, this is so the entire platform that we are building is a real-time analytics platform, and in order to sell it, we need to show what the capabilities are. So we just built 2 use cases on top of it. So. Okay, thanks. And okay, so since I'm here, I'll also say that if you guys are interested in D3 visualizations, we guys are hiring, so you can talk to me outside.
Sure.